My beloved child. Don't skip. Silence hangs heavy in the unseen realm, and before a single truth is revealed, there is a pause that feels like the stillness before thunder breaks the sky. Something urgent is unfolding beyond what your eyes can see, and this message begins not with comfort, but with a trembling weight that presses on the soul. There is a reason your heart feels restless even now, because what approaches carries consequences that cannot be ignored. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says the heavens have been watching you closely as this moment draws near. The urgency you feel is not fear, but a divine signal calling you to awareness, strength, and readiness. This is not a gentle whisper, it is a cry echoing across realms because time has narrowed and choices are aligning. You may sense confusion around you, as if events are tightening their grip and truths are preparing to surface all at once. This is not chaos without meaning, but a controlled unveiling that will expose what has been hidden for far too long. Every breath you take in this season carries weight, because destiny is pressing forward without delay. There are forces at work that have underestimated your awareness and your protection. Plans formed in secrecy are trembling, and structures built on deception are beginning to crack under divine pressure. This is the hour when masks fall and accountability steps into the light. Amen. 333. What is approaching is not meant to destroy you, but to free you from entanglements you never fully understood. You have walked through confusion with patience, even when answers were withheld and clarity seemed distant. That endurance has been seen, and it has not been wasted. A major turning point is forming, and it will arrive suddenly, without warning, like a door being forced open by truth itself. Those who believed they could move unseen are about to face exposure, and the weight of their actions will no longer be denied. Justice is not rushing, it is precise, measured, and inevitable. You are not being called to panic, but to stand steady. When events unfold, many will be shaken, but you are being positioned to remain grounded and clear-minded. Strength will rise in you at the exact moment it is needed. This moment is not about spectacle, but alignment. What unfolds will rearrange paths, separate intentions, and redefine relationships that were never meant to continue in deception. You will recognize the shift not by noise, but by peace settling where confusion once lived. Amen. 444. There has been a long season where your voice was restrained, either by circumstance or by choice. In that silence, others assumed you were unaware, but they were mistaken. Awareness does not always announce itself, sometimes it waits for the right moment to rise. The urgency now is not to speak recklessly, but to remain observant. Information will surface without you seeking it, and confirmations will arrive one by one. Each revelation will strengthen your understanding and prepare you for what follows. This is a divine interruption, not a punishment. Systems that thrived on imbalance are being corrected, and truth is stepping forward with authority. You are protected within this process, even if the environment feels unstable. What has been delayed is now accelerating. What was hidden is now illuminated. And what was ignored is now demanding attention. Amen. 555. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says stand firm and do not be drawn into fear-driven reactions. Fear is not your portion in this hour, clarity is. You are being shielded from outcomes that are not meant for you. There are conversations happening behind the scenes that you are not part of, yet they revolve around outcomes that will affect many. Decisions are being made, and consequences are aligning according to truth, not manipulation. This is why the urgency feels so strong. You may feel a strange mixture of relief and heaviness, because deep down you knew this moment would come. Nothing that unfolds will be random, even if it feels sudden. Every detail has been accounted for. Remain watchful, but not anxious. Remain calm, but not passive. You are exactly where you need to be as this chapter turns. Amen. 777. What happens next will clarify years of unanswered questions. You will finally understand why certain paths closed and why certain connections dissolved without explanation. Protection often looks like loss before it reveals itself as deliverance. There is no need to announce your insight to others. Let truth speak for itself. Those who doubted you will recognize, in time, that silence was your wisdom. This is a moment of separation between truth and illusion. The weight of deception cannot coexist with divine order, and so it must be removed. What collapses now was never stable to begin with. Your role is not to intervene, but to remain aligned. This alignment will guide your steps effortlessly once the dust settles. Amen. 888. The arrest spoken of is not just physical, but symbolic. It represents the halting of destructive patterns, the stopping of harmful cycles, and the interruption of hidden wrongdoing. What was moving unchecked is being restrained. Do not fear the shaking, because it clears the ground for rebuilding. Stability will return, stronger and more honest than before. You will recognize the shift when peace replaces tension in your spirit. Those who relied on secrecy will find themselves exposed by their own actions. Truth does not need force, it reveals itself naturally when the time is right. This is that time. Stay anchored. Stay observant. Stay aligned. Amen. 999. There is a reason this message reaches you now and not later. Delay would have weakened its impact, but this moment carries precision. Your awareness is part of the divine order unfolding. Support will come from unexpected directions once clarity emerges. You will not walk alone through what follows. Even those who once misunderstood you will see you differently. This is not an ending, but a correction. What comes after will be cleaner, clearer, and more aligned with truth. You will breathe easier once the shift completes. Trust the process even when you do not control it. Amen. 111. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says, remember that divine timing is never early and never late. Every step has been guided, even when it felt uncertain. You were never forgotten. As events unfold, remain mindful of your own boundaries. You do not need to carry the weight of others' consequences. Your responsibility is your own alignment and peace. This moment will pass, but its impact will last. What is corrected now will not need to be revisited later. Amen. 222. There is strength rising within you that you have not yet fully recognized. It will surface naturally as circumstances demand it. You do not need to force anything. When clarity arrives, act with calm assurance. Let wisdom guide your responses. This is how you remain protected. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Amen. 666. What comes next is a season of rebuilding, not recovery. Recovery implies loss, rebuilding implies intention. You are stepping into something deliberately shaped, not accidentally formed. Do not rush ahead mentally. Stay present. Each step will reveal itself at the right time. This message ends where certainty begins. You are watched over, guided, and protected as truth takes its rightful place. Amen. 000. My beloved child. The atmosphere continues to shift even when nothing appears to change on the surface. What feels like waiting is actually alignment happening quietly, layer by layer, beyond human control. Every moment of stillness now is purposeful, pressing unseen pieces into their exact positions. You may notice emotions surfacing without clear reason, memories returning briefly and then fading again. This is not distraction, but release, as old weights loosen their grip in preparation for what comes next. Nothing that is leaving was meant to remain. The silence around you is deceptive, because movement is happening where eyes cannot reach. Decisions are forming, outcomes are being finalized, and resistance is weakening steadily. What once felt immovable is now fragile beneath pressure it cannot withstand. Remain grounded in your daily rhythm, because stability in small things anchors you during large transitions. You do not need dramatic action to remain aligned, consistency itself is strength. This steadiness will carry you through what unfolds. Amen. 121. There are individuals connected to your story who sense that something is slipping beyond their control. Their unease is not your burden to carry. What they feel is the natural response of imbalance encountering correction. You may feel tempted to explain yourself or clarify your position, but restraint serves you better now. Truth will reveal itself without your defense. Silence in this phase is not weakness, it is wisdom. The pressure building is not aimed at you, though you may feel its vibration. You are positioned on stable ground while others stand on shifting sand. This difference will become obvious soon. Let patience remain your companion. What is coming cannot be rushed without losing precision. Amen. 232. A threshold is approaching, and crossing it will change how you see recent events. What once seemed confusing will arrange itself into a clear pattern. Understanding will arrive not as shock, but as quiet certainty. You have been protected from knowledge that would have overwhelmed you too early. Now, only what strengthens you will be revealed. This measured unveiling is an act of care, not delay. Do not underestimate the power of awareness without reaction. Observing without engaging preserves your clarity and your peace. This is how you remain untouched by the turbulence around you. Every step forward now is guided, even when it feels ordinary. Amen. 343. What is being corrected reaches beyond a single situation. It touches patterns that have repeated across time, cycles that have harmed without being challenged. This moment interrupts those patterns permanently. You are witnessing the end of something that once seemed untouchable. Its collapse may feel slow, but its fall is certain. Resistance only prolongs the inevitable. Those who relied on manipulation will find it no longer effective. Truth does not argue, it stands. And when it stands, false structures crumble under their own weight. Your role is not to fix what breaks, but to step forward when the path clears. Amen. 454. There will be a moment when news reaches you indirectly, not dramatically, but unmistakably. A shift in tone, a change in behavior, or an unexpected confirmation will signal that the turning point has passed. When that happens, trust what you sense. Relief may arrive quietly, mixed with a strange calm. This calm is not indifference, it is alignment restoring balance. You will know then that the heaviest part is over. From that moment forward, your energy will feel lighter, even if circumstances are still adjusting. This lightness is a sign that you are no longer carrying what was never yours. Allow this release without guilt. Amen. 565. My beloved child, there is nothing accidental about your survival through previous confusion. What you endured refined your discernment and sharpened your awareness. These qualities now serve you as protection. You may notice clearer boundaries forming naturally. What once drained you will no longer hold the same access. This change is not forced, it is organic. As clarity increases, your confidence will stabilize. You will no longer question what you sense. Trust in your perception has been earned. This trust will guide you safely through the next phase. Amen. 676. The unfolding events will cause others to reflect on their choices. Some will face consequences, others realizations. You are not responsible for how they respond. What matters is that you do not minimize what you feel to accommodate discomfort around you. Your peace does not require permission. It exists because alignment has been restored. This is a recalibration, not a confrontation. You do not need to stand in opposition to remain firm. Stillness itself becomes your shield. Let truth do its work. Amen. 787. As stability returns, new opportunities will appear where there were none before. These openings will feel natural, not forced. You will recognize them by the absence of anxiety. There is no rush to step forward immediately. Observe first. Discernment remains your strongest ally. What aligns with you will not require sacrifice of peace. This is how you know it is meant to stay. Move forward when calm confirms your direction. Amen. 898. The closing of this chapter does not erase what happened, it transforms it into understanding. Nothing was wasted, not even the confusion. Each moment served a purpose that now becomes visible. You are emerging with greater clarity, stronger boundaries, and deeper stability. This is not coincidence, it is outcome. As the dust settles, remember that protection often works quietly, intervening without announcement. What did not reach you was just as important as what did. This awareness marks the beginning of the next phase. Amen. 909. My beloved child, the movement that has been building now begins to press outward, not with noise, but with undeniable force. What once felt like distant tension starts translating into visible change, even if the details remain unclear at first. This is the stage where resistance weakens and momentum shifts permanently. You may notice your instincts sharpening, your awareness becoming more precise without effort. This clarity is not learned, it is activated. What confused you before no longer holds the same power over your thoughts or emotions. There is a sense of finality forming around situations that lingered far too long. Loose ends begin tightening, and uncertainty starts losing ground. You are no longer standing at the edge of the unknown, but at the entrance of resolution. What unfolds now does not require your intervention. It requires your steadiness. Remaining calm allows you to witness change without being pulled into its turbulence. Amen. 141. As events advance, you may feel a brief pull toward the past, not to return, but to recognize how far you have come. This reflection is part of closure. It seals lessons without reopening wounds. There are moments ahead where truth becomes unavoidable, not through confrontation, but through undeniable clarity. Actions will speak louder than explanations ever could. Reality will confirm what intuition already knew. Some connections may fade without conflict. Others may end abruptly. Both outcomes serve the same purpose: realignment. What no longer resonates simply cannot remain. Allow endings to complete themselves without resistance. Amen. 252. You are entering a phase where your energy becomes selective. Not everyone will have access to you, and that is intentional. Protection now works through discernment rather than endurance. The world around you may feel louder, but internally you grow quieter. This inner calm is not detachment, it is grounding. It keeps you anchored while others react impulsively. Pay attention to what no longer triggers you. This is evidence of growth. Emotional neutrality toward former stressors marks true release. What once drained you now passes by without impact. Amen. 363. There is a moment approaching when confirmation arrives in an unexpected form. It may come through observation rather than direct communication. When it does, you will recognize it instantly. This confirmation will not excite you, it will settle you. Peace will replace anticipation. The waiting phase will close quietly, without ceremony. You may feel a natural urge to step back and reassess priorities. This pause is healthy. It allows you to choose intentionally rather than reactively. Clarity now guides your movement forward. Amen. 474. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says remain centered as the final pieces fall into place. What is happening around you is not meant to destabilize you, but to clear space. You are shielded from outcomes that do not align with your path. The strength supporting you now is firm and unwavering. Even when others experience consequences, you are held steady. This difference is not favoritism, it is positioning. What collapses was already hollow. What remains will be solid and trustworthy. This contrast will soon be evident. Stand firm without hardening your heart. Amen. 585. As the dust continues to settle, you may notice renewed focus and motivation. Energy that was previously scattered returns to you. This reclaimed strength will support new directions. You are not meant to rush into change, but to step into it with confidence. Timing matters, and you will sense when movement is appropriate. Trust that sense without doubt. Opportunities will not announce themselves loudly. They will feel natural, aligned, and calm. This is how you know they are genuine. Follow peace, not pressure. Amen. 696. There will be no need to explain your transformation. Those who observe closely will understand without words. Those who do not are not meant to follow this next chapter with you. Your path now narrows in the best way. Focus increases as distractions fall away. This clarity strengthens every decision you make. You are not losing options, you are gaining direction. This distinction changes everything. Move forward with quiet assurance. Amen. 707. What has been corrected behind the scenes will no longer require vigilance from you. The burden of monitoring, anticipating, or guarding fades. Trust replaces tension. You will recognize freedom by how little effort it takes to maintain peace. This ease is not laziness, it is alignment functioning properly. Let go of the habit of expecting disruption. Stability is now your baseline. Allow yourself to rest into this new normal. Amen. 818. As this part closes, know that what remains ahead is not uncertainty, but expansion. Growth follows correction naturally. The foundation beneath you is stronger than before. You are stepping into a season defined by clarity, protection, and intentional movement. Nothing essential has been lost. Everything necessary has been preserved. This transition marks the shift from endurance to purpose. Amen. 929. My beloved child. The atmosphere now feels different, not because everything is resolved, but because balance has begun to settle where tension once ruled. You may notice that your thoughts are clearer, your reactions slower, and your emotions steadier without effort. This is the sign that alignment has taken root. What once demanded constant attention no longer pulls at you. Situations that felt urgent have lost their intensity. This shift is not avoidance, it is resolution beginning internally before it becomes visible externally. You are no longer bracing for impact. Instead, you are standing on ground that no longer shakes beneath your feet. This stability allows you to see farther ahead than before. The pace of life adjusts now, moving from survival to intention. Amen. 131. As clarity continues to expand, your priorities reorganize themselves naturally. What mattered out of habit loses importance, and what truly aligns rises to the surface. This is not confusion, it is refinement. You may find yourself saying less, not because you have nothing to express, but because you no longer need to prove understanding. Confidence settles quietly when certainty replaces doubt. Your presence alone becomes enough. There is no urge to revisit what has ended. Closure has already occurred internally. This allows you to move forward without dragging remnants of the past behind you. Freedom now expresses itself as lightness. Amen. 242. You may notice that people around you respond differently to your energy. Some feel drawn to your calm, others unsettled by it. This reaction is not something you manage or correct, it simply reflects alignment at work. Your boundaries are now felt without being spoken. This silent clarity protects you more effectively than explanation ever could. Respect follows naturally where certainty exists. You are no longer absorbing what does not belong to you. Emotional clarity filters what you allow in. This discernment strengthens with each passing moment. Peace is no longer fragile, it is stable. Amen. 353. Opportunities that approach you now will feel distinctly different from those of the past. They will not demand urgency or compromise. They will arrive with ease and mutual respect. You will recognize alignment by how little resistance you feel internally. When something fits, it does not strain. This simplicity becomes your new standard. There is no fear of missing out, because what is meant for you does not bypass you. Trust replaces anticipation. Patience feels natural, not forced. Your direction is no longer scattered. Amen. 464. As the external world continues to adjust, you remain centered. Noise may exist around you, but it does not penetrate. This inner steadiness is the result of lessons fully integrated. You are no longer reacting to echoes of old patterns. Awareness has replaced reflex. This awareness allows you to choose rather than respond automatically. What once required effort to maintain now sustains itself. Alignment is no longer something you seek, it is something you live. This marks true transition. Amen. 575. There is a sense of quiet confidence forming, one that does not need validation. You trust your timing. You trust your perception. This trust is earned through experience, not assumption. Decisions become simpler because you are no longer divided internally. When clarity exists, hesitation fades. This decisiveness does not rush, it moves calmly. You may feel more selective with your energy, your time, and your focus. This selectivity preserves what matters most. Your life begins to feel intentional. Amen. 686. What unfolds next builds upon this stabilized foundation. Growth will come without chaos. Expansion will not require sacrifice of peace. You are no longer preparing for impact. You are preparing for direction. This shift changes how you engage with everything around you. Rest now becomes productive, not passive. Stillness renews rather than delays. This is the environment where purpose strengthens. Amen. 797. As this part concludes, recognize how far you have moved from uncertainty to clarity. The difference is not dramatic, but it is permanent. You are no longer the same person who began this journey. What lies ahead will require presence, not endurance. Awareness, not defense. Intention, not reaction. You are ready for what comes next. Amen. 808.